Welcome to episode 6 of Literally Speaking All Things AIS, the official podcast of Augusta Independent School District. I'm Tim Literal, and I'm glad you're joining us. Today, we'll start with a few quick updates from around the district, and then we'll sit down with Jason Hinson, Athletic Director and Boys Basketball Coach, before moving on to our AIS Spotlight and wrapping up with our In the Loop segment. We'll begin with AISD Headlines, a segment to share important district news and celebrate accomplishments. At the December Board of Education meeting, the board approved a new mission statement for the district, which reads as follows. The mission of Augusta Independent is to build a culture of high academic achievement where students develop confidence, character, and perseverance for lifelong success. The current mission statement had been in place for nearly a decade, and according to Superintendent Lisa McCain, the new mission statement represents the values, goals, and the current focus of the district. Also, at the December Board of Education meeting, the board set its meeting dates for 2026. Board meetings will continue to be held on the second Thursday of the month in the library. The state of Kentucky has officially switched from using the ACT to the SAT as its required college admissions exam. Beginning this school year, all Kentucky juniors will take the SAT during the school day as part of the state's accountability system. For many years, the ACT was the familiar standard for Kentucky students, used to measure college readiness and serve as a key component in college admissions and scholarship opportunities. However, the Kentucky Department of Education recently awarded a new statewide contract for college admissions testing to the College Board, the organization that administers the SAT. To help students prepare, the College Board offers free online practice through Khan Academy. The SAT is widely accepted by colleges and universities across the U.S., just like the ACT. Students may still choose to take both exams if they wish, but the state-provided SAT will meet the requirement for college admissions testing. Most scholarships that previously accepted ACT scores will also accept SAT results. Today, we're joined by Athletic Director and Boys Basketball Coach Jason Hinson. Coach, appreciate you joining us on this, taping this on a snow day.
Yeah, great snow day. I always love them. Thank you for having me, Mr. Lira. I really appreciate it. It's been a good day so far.
So you've been at this whole coaching journey for a few years now. Take us through that coaching journey, where you started and where you are now.
Well, the journey has definitely been a journey. I think when I got out of high school and I played my last game, I really felt like it was devastating. I didn't really want to be away from the game. And I thought, around my senior year, I thought maybe I want to coach. My high school coach was Gary McKinney. And a lot of people know I played at Bracken County High School and really enjoyed my high school playing days. I wasn't the greatest player. I jokingly tell everybody, and it's not really a joke, but my kids are way better than I was, even all the way through, my girls included. I didn't score. I wasn't known for a lot of points. I just played hard. Felt like I played the game the right way. Kind of like a coach's kid. Play good defense, play hard, and know your role. And I think that's a big thing nowadays that kids really have a hard time understanding. But I got cut from the basketball team in 7th grade and I ended up moving to Bracken County because I lived in Germantown and got to meet some great influential people over there, and then got to play middle school and high school, and I was playing varsity when I was a sophomore. So it's been a pretty long journey as far as the playing goes, but then I decided I want to get into coaching. I was told for many, many years if I didn't have a teaching certificate, I'd never get to coach. So I went back to school. I kind of floated around jobs. I worked at Sara Lee Foods in Alexandria, which is the old Cons. Great paying job, great job. They did plant-wide layoffs and ended up being laid off. I got a job at the Bracken County Cable Company as a cable man. I enjoyed doing that. I thought I was scared of heights till I started climbing ladders and going up poles, and it wasn't that big of a deal. Then Lex Turner retires. Tim Sullivan, longtime coach of Cooper, now at St. Henry, gets the job at St. Pat. I actually get into the Final Two. In the meantime, I started coaching at 19. I was coaching middle school basketball at Bracken. I ended up going to Deming, Robertson County, and coaching JV. I was doing that at the time. Aaron Massey, a teammate of mine at Bracken County, was the coach. So basically, one day I get a call that Tim Sullivan had left to go to Mason County. It was from Lex Turner. You still interested in the St. Pat job? And actually I was working in downtown Maysville at the time, so it kind of worked out well. Mr. Finch, the owner of the cable company, the Bank of Maysville, had big ties in St. Patrick. gave me the okay, and the rest is kind of history with that, and that's kind of where it all began.
After you coached St. Patrick for how many years?
I was there for 4 seasons. We were 57 and 55 there. Met a lot of great people, and still to this day have a great relationship with St. Pat. Loved my time there. It was a great opportunity, a great job at the time when becoming a head coach was so prestigious and so hard to get in the 10th region. Coaching against Bart Risen, Robin Kelsch, Lex Turner was in the mix. Mike Wright, one of my main mentors, Chris O'Hearn, the list goes on. And just the competitive nature of that alone was difficult.
And you came here, sat on the bench with Coach Kelch for, I don't know if it was 2 or 3 years.
Well, there were some things that went down at St. Pat, nothing bad, just budget cuts. I think St. Patrick's School's enrollment was down. The Covington Diocese came in and kind of went through each individual person, their jobs and who they needed, who they didn't. I did make it to the final cut. And then, I called, I got a call from Robin Kelsch. And it's like, what's going on? I'm like, well, it looks like I'm going to be laid off. And he's like, well, hold tight. And I probably I'm not exaggerating, 2 or 3 hours later, I got a call from John Cordell.
Who was the superintendent here at the time?
Superintendent of Augusta Independent School, a great, wonderful man that I formed a great bond and a great relationship with. And which is kind of odd because me and Mr. Cordell on 2 separate sides of the spectrum, because he knew how I was, and he knew I respected him so much. I think it made him respect me and how I was and how I don't shy away from things I say. And I think he appreciated that. I think he liked how I handled myself in the media and in the paper and how our team's dressed and or whatever, all those little fine details that had nothing to do with coaching. And I think he knew that I wasn't going to embarrass Augusta Independent School and have us on the level where we deserve to be.
Take over, I think it was 2011 for Coach Kelch. Several years here, obviously success with district championships, All-A championship. You leave to go back to your alma mater for, I believe it was 4 seasons.
That's correct.
And then you come back, and you've been back at Augusta since 2019.
I think this is my 7th year back. Yeah, 7th year
19,
back.
Yep.
It's been a journey. One of my goals was to always coach where I played. It was always something that was in my mind. Obviously having some success here and being able to win, back-to-back district championships. And then in 15, when Brent graduated and everybody thought we weren't going to be anything, we win the All-A. Probably wasn't even picked in the top 4 that year. But a lot of emotion, a lot of hard play. I've been very, very blessed to coach some unbelievable players and Brent Bach and Tanner Kelsch. That 2013 group from Austin Kahn to the Barretts, Trenton Barrett and, those guys. That's another example of understanding their role when, we had 3 freshmen that ended up starting there in the district tournament, and Cameron, Connor, and Owens. And, those other guys could have been very upset, and I'm sure they were, but you never knew it with our team. And just, I've been blessed, 13 and 14, and then 15 winning the Class A championship with David Tucker and Nathan Schrader. Like I said, our team wasn't picked really high, but they showed up when it counted for sure.
You come back the second stint here, and you take on additional role as athletic director. How do you define success for an athletic department beyond just the wins and the losses of the programs and the teams?
I think ultimately and I think I'm in a little bit more difficult role than most people because I'm also the basketball coach. So there's always you got to be careful that I think when I interviewed for the job, one of the things we talked about was, hey, listen, let's make sure that we're including and taking care of all the other sports. And I feel like I've done that pretty well. Obviously, with the help of many, many people, we got the baseball field and softball field redone with the Cincinnati Reds and St. Elizabeth. Craig Miller was definite and unbelievable support with that. With the raising of the money and different things like that. But, I think that was the first big thing we did was, hey, let's let's try to get this. And I did that with just a simple email. I sent an email to Charlie Frank at the Cincinnati Reds, and I tell people all the time, we just got lucky. We got lucky. They came down. They met with us. And I think the big thing is making sure you have fair balance in all areas. Fair practice times, making sure everybody is getting what they need. Between me and Mr. Kelsch didn't like to spend money. If teams ask for stuff, I get it for them, because I feel like whatever they need to be successful, we try to get it. If it's in the budget. There's only been one time where we're like, okay, we're going to have to put spending on hold for a little bit until we can get out of the hole. But other than that, everybody's very understanding, and I think when you provide that type of help to every sports team, I think they appreciate it. And when you're not telling this one no and this one yes, I think you got to be fair and consistent across the board. And I feel like we do a really good job of that, and I feel like we're very fair to all the sports teams, and we try to put an emphasis on all of them.
And, of course, at the varsity level, winning is important, but at the same time, this is still K-12 education. And I think one thing that we've always said here is while winning is really important, just as important equally is making sure that we represent Augusta the right way in all of our athletic sports. And I feel like that's something that we do.
I think we do a really good job of that. That you can't stop everything from happening, but
kids have their own minds sometimes.
But for the most part, we do, and sometimes they have to be reminded. And it's okay. You got to remind the kids. Like when they get off the bus. Like when we get off the bus, hey, listen, you're representing your school, you're representing your coach, your coaches. Like let's make sure we think before we react. And for the most part, the kids, we've been very blessed in that area. And I think all our coaches do a really good job of keeping our kids in line and straight and understanding what's right and wrong. I think the big thing for me is understand what's right and what's wrong. If you can do that, even as a parent, one of the things that me and Carla always talk about is, how everybody asks, why are your kids so good? Well behaved. I think they know right from wrong. They know what's right. They know what's wrong. And I think that helps them in everyday life.
As the athletic director, sometimes there are uncomfortable circumstances where there are conflicts that arise between whether that be coaches and athletes, coaches and parents, that you often have to sit down and be the mediator between that. And obviously every circumstance is different, but in just general terms overall, how do you approach those sort of conflicts when they do arise?
I think when you have issues arise, and this is something that's changed over the course of time as well, you have to over-communicate. You have to over-communicate. You need to talk to your parents, your coaches, your players. And when someone's upset, have them communicate to you and understand what's going on. Because a lot of times, if I have issues or something happens with a player, I try to have my guys be honest and open with me. If you're having a bad day, let me know. But when things happen, open communication with the parents is huge. Don't let your child get home and tell their version of the story. Tell the parents what the story or what actually happened before they can go and twist it and turn it a million different ways. There's been many times I'll call a parent immediately after a breakdown or a argument or a frustration moment at practice or in a game, and I think that's always helped me personally because you have to do that. Now, as an AD, sitting in, the first thing I'll ask a coach is, have you called the parent? Have you reached out to mom or dad or the guardian? Sometimes it's yes, sometimes it's no. And having open meetings and just sitting down and listening to what is going on. I think that's a big thing. Listening. And I think coaches, not particularly our coaches, sometimes, and I did this when I was younger, we think we're right about everything. We're not. We're not always right. I'm not, believe it or not, I'm not always right. I mess up too. We mess up. And when coaches realize, hey, we're not perfect, and we have to look at things a lot different now than we did 10 years ago. And that's where we're at. Open communication, talking it out. And to me, you can never go wrong by talking it out.
How do you see parents as contributing to the overall athletic department? I mean, obviously they contribute to individual teams as well, but how do you see them contributing to the athletic department and how we manage sort of their expectations for their kids?
Well, I think the big thing for us is, the concession stand's a big ordeal at our school, and getting those parents help and support. We're very lucky, especially the boys and girls basketball team. We have a great support staff, parents offering and volunteering to help whenever they can. And, that's not always the case. But parents, I always tell parents this, even if you don't like the coach, don't talk about the coach in front of your kids, because that makes our job 100 times harder. You can dislike me all you want, and you may not agree with everything I do, but please don't do it in front of your kid, because that gives us another battle to climb. And just that open communication, once again, with the parents and letting them understand. I try to be real with the parents. If you want to come in and talk, and I don't have a lot of this, if you want to come in and talk, I always say you need to be prepared for the truth. I try not to sugarcoat it. And I think they appreciate that. Even though they may not like it at first, I think they appreciate the truth. They appreciate it. As far as parents, concession stand, fundraising, that's a big thing. And just overall, just helping out and filling in. We'll have parents randomly just bring a thing of Gatorade and snacks. I don't want to name people because everybody helps and everybody does that. But those things are very appreciative. And when you got a great group of parents like we do, we're very lucky, very blessed. I think I could pretty much ask for whatever we needed, and I think they would do it for any sports team.
Earlier in a comment, you mentioned the budget, and obviously fundraising and managing the budget is an important part of your role as athletic director. Talk about the importance of fundraising for our athletic department, specifically, for a school our size.
It's different here. It's different here because we don't have boosters and we don't have each individual sports team. We are kind of responsible for the whole thing. When we have a golf scramble, it's for everybody. It's not just for basketball. Even though people probably feel like it is, we have volunteers from all over, but the budget is crucial. And as long as we keep making the regional tournament every year, the budget's way better. But there's some years we don't. And there's been years that we've started low because it's a huge expense. And I think the big thing people don't realize is when you pay for the bus drivers, you pay for the fuel. People don't realize that there's a lot of extra expense in there that you don't even account for. Referees. My goodness, referees, you pay 3 referees $80 a pop every night. You're looking at close to $300 or over $300 counting JV. That's so many tickets to get in the door before you even break even. So, Daniel Fisher, the athletic director at Brackett County for years, he had it down to the number, how many tickets he had to sell before they even broke even. So that's something as an athletic director that I've really paid attention to and understand that whenever you can get people in the stands, you got to have those events. You got to get the kitty cats in there because they bring in the people. You got to get people in the stands, and you got to be able to move forward to get everything paid.
You talked about some of the expenses, but I don't think people often realize what all those entail. So, here's a few that I just thought of in advance. Equipment, obviously, that's something most people do think of. You got basketballs, volleyballs, baseballs, bats, those types of things. Obviously, uniforms, that's an expense. Uniforms are not cheap when those come up for in the rotation.
No, it's not. And basketballs are anywhere from $88 to $130 each.
That's ridiculous.
Each. So, and a set of uniforms now you're looking at least $2,000. So, nothing's cheap. We're just talking. Nothing is cheap anymore. And they got you because you got to have basketballs, you got to have nets, you got to have books. I think I got a bill the other day for books, pre-wrap, and tape, almost $400. Expense is high for sure.
You mentioned officials. I figured it up last night. JV and varsity, $360 a night. That's 40 tickets, which I know maybe doesn't seem like a ton, but when you let students in free as we do, you let senior citizens in free as we do.
I can guarantee we didn't sell 40 tickets last night. I'd be shocked if we did.
And obviously with your girls' games for us this year, it's a little less because we're not playing a JV schedule, but still, your gate 40 tickets just covers. I know you have concessions, but that's not all clear profit because you obviously have to buy that
Yeah.
buy those supplies.
And that's expensive as well. And we've been blessed that we get a lot of donations. We get a lot of support. But I think hard times are for everyone right now. And when you're pulling from the same pool all the time, and the same people are helping you year in, year out, I think it's tough. And I think that's why, like, when we have sponsors that either ask to pay a little bit at a time, or maybe, hey, we want to do this, but we can't really pay it all right now. That's why I go on and put them on there, because I know when times are tough, I think they be willing to help out as well. And I think that kind of works both ways. I think you got to work with the community. You got to work with the local people and even the outside people, and show them that we appreciate them just as much. And I hope they appreciate us as much as well.
Right. I mean, travel expenses, we pay for the bus drivers. The district pays a part of the fuel fee, but probably half or so the athletic department pays on their mileage. Registration fees, your sports like track and field, archery, golf, cross country. They don't have home events. They have to go somewhere all the time, and most of the time they have to pay a registration fee to enter those events. And I feel like we have tried to, and obviously our school's also different because we have all of our classes fundraising to try to go on your senior trip. But I feel like as an athletic department, we've really tried to avoid sort of sending stuff home to sell. I'm not saying we don't ever do it, but for the most part, we try to do it in other ways, like the golf scramble, like the semi-formal dance. Obviously, on years that we can make it to the regional tournament, that's a big check for the athletic department. We've tried to take that burden off as much as possible on the selling stuff, but in return, when we have these events, we need help and we need support, we need participation. And when we do things like the athletic calendar, that's just a really important piece.
Well, the athletic calendar is huge. And I'll tell you, the first year we did it, I think it was close to $8,000. I'm not totally for sure. I'm guessing. And then it kind of declined to like 4, and then or maybe 3, and then we're back up to 4. It just depends on what's going on at the time. We do try to give a prize away for that every year, and most schools don't. Most schools just do the calendar.
It's just like a donation.
And they keep it.
Yeah.
But we try to give a little bit back, and I'm sure the guy that won it, he when I gave him a call, he was super excited about winning it. But I'm sure, there's been times that people have won that and donated it back. But we don't expect that. We don't expect that. We give that away to say thank you to the people that buy and try to help us out as much as they can.
Another big piece of news around here, as we've reported, and it's been in the paper and on the website and things, is we're about to start construction on our new multi-purpose educational facility, which will include a gymnasium, not just as a basketball coach, but as an athletic director in a K-12 school that has elementary, middle school, and high school teams that need gym time, all in the same building with one gym. And I know it's still a couple years away before it's completed because, once they break ground, that's still about a 20-month process. But how much of a benefit do you see as an athletic director?
Well, it's a huge benefit because right now our practice times go 3 to 4:30, 4:30 to 6, 6 to 7:30, 7:30 to 9, and we got kids in here at the gym close to 9 o'clock at night. They need to be home, eating supper, doing their homework, and we've made it work. It's not like it's, sometimes I love 7:30 to 9. Now, obviously, under my situation right now with our girls coach and Coach Bach, she doesn't work at the school. I get after school practice every day. People probably think, oh, we probably love. No, I don't love that because you got kids running around. We're not locked in. So there's pros and cons to that. It's good to be home at 4:30.
Right.
But getting that and being able to allow us practice time and another place to schedule will be great. I think our middle school athletic programs take a hit as far as basketball, volleyball, because our middle school teams with another gym can participate maybe in the Northern Kentucky League, where their season runs in the winter as well. Now, we have not done that here because a lot of times our kids move up and play, but they get 14, 15 games right now, and they could be playing 30 and practicing every day. And although we've been able to stay above water, it does affect us getting better every day, because right now our middle school season just ended, and Bracken and Ludlow and some of these Northern Kentucky teams, they're just starting their season, and they'll play through the winter just like the high school team. So a lot of pros. archery comes in on the weekend, and cheerleaders have to go the hallway. I'm just lucky that my wife's the coach and she doesn't really complain. But when she asks to get in the gym, I put her in the gym.
Right.
Because if she's willing to go the hallway and do those things for us, then, whenever they ask and need it, we got to make sure we accommodate. It's about accommodating everybody. And this is going to make it so much better for every sports team and every class and everything that goes on at school, because it's going to be so beneficial for everybody involved.
Right. Obviously, I specifically mentioned athletics to you because you're the athletic director, but this will help academic programming, other extracurriculars, community events. There's just a plethora of things that this will be beneficial, this new project. We'll continue with part 2 of our interview with Jason Hinson and talk more about his coaching role in this year's team on our next episode. Today, we're highlighting the Augusta Independent Education Foundation, or AIEF. What started as the Alumni Association was repurposed in 2013 as the Education Foundation, with a mission to ensure maximum achievement of every student by supporting a dedicated team of teachers, staff, administrators, and parents. The foundation is an independent, nonprofit 501c3 corporation whose major purpose is to raise funds from private sources for the enrichment of the educational program of the Augusta Independent School District. Donations to the Augusta Independent Education Foundation are tax deductible to the donor. The foundation seeks funds and in-kind contributions from individuals, businesses, corporations, civic groups, and various agencies. Checks and money orders payable to the AIEF can be mailed to 307 Bracken Street, Augusta, Kentucky, 41002. Before we wrap up, it's time to keep you in the loop. The upcoming calendar is pretty light. Augusta Independent will be on Christmas break from December 22nd through January 2nd. Classes will resume on January 5th. That's it for today. We appreciate Jason Hinson for joining us. New episodes drop on the first and third Friday of each month, so we'll be back on January 2nd with episode 7. Be sure to subscribe on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. I'm Tim Literal, and this has been Literally Speaking, all things AIS. Until next time, stay connected, stay learning, and stay Panther proud.